Currency values in Iran hit a new low today following weeks of nationwide unrest. The country is struggling to revive a nuclear deal with world powers. This, along with protests following the death of a 22-year-old woman who reportedly died at the hands of police for violating the country's strict dress code for women. And joining us tonight to discuss is Clare Lopez, founder and president of Lopez Liberty. Clare, always good to be with you. As mentioned, there has been a lot of arrests in Iran since the death of Mahsa Amini. Can you give us an update on where things stand right now?
Well, the important thing, I think, to realize about this particular uprising, and by the way, the Iranian people themselves do not call these protests. They call that a revolution. They're saying inqilab, revolution, not just protests. But the important thing is that these protests, the street uprising, has spread to every one of Iran's 31 provinces. All of its ethnic groups are involved: the Ahwaz Arabs, the Kurds, the Baluchis, the Azeris, all of them. And the street protests are being led by young people, and in particular women.
And we are just hearing today, according to the Wall Street Journal, that Saudi Arabia is now warning of an imminent attack from Iran, putting the kingdom and its neighbors, as well as U.S. troops in the Middle East, on high alert. Claire, what more do you know about this?
Well, this news is just breaking this afternoon, so we don't have all the details, but I would think that the publication of that threat warning coming to us from the Saudis may be meant as a deterrent against such attacks, letting the Iranians know that we know what they're planning and are taking steps to prepare and repel any such attacks.
And also another thing I want to touch on, as we mentioned, Iran's currency is plummeting. And recent reports suggest that the economy is really sickly on all fronts. In light of this, what do you think the future is for the regime?
Well, I think that the days of this regime are numbered. I think that it is not going to be an overnight struggle. I think that the people of Iran, and in particular its young people, have had it up to there with this theocratic, oppressive jihadist regime. And I think that they are finding allies among many industries in Iran, like the petrochemical industry, for example, that are going on strike. And slowly, way too slowly for many, in particular the thousands being arrested and others killed, but slowly that will grind down this regime. And eventually, I think its days are numbered, and the people of Iran will finally have the chance to choose their own leadership.
Claire, before we run out of time, I want to switch gears here, and I want to talk about China and biowarfare. I know in a recent article you report that China's biological weapons program began in the wake of the Second World War and continues today. Claire, talk to us more about that. And is this on the radar of U.S. officials?
Well, I hope it's on the radar, but very briefly, after the end of World War II, the world and China found out that the Japanese had established what they call Unit 731 in Manchuria and done horrific biological warfare experiments and human rights abuses against the Chinese. But Mao Zedong, who took over China in 1949, did not abolish that program, but instead took it over and developed it. We can fast forward to 1999, when the PLA, People's Liberation Army military manual, Unrestricted Warfare, was published, or at least translated to English. And in it, biological chemical warfare is explicitly named as a form of warfare in the arsenal of the Chinese military. Other documents, more recent, including PLA documents, very explicitly talk about using biological warfare, developing biological weapons in the military labs. And it's important to notice that in China, the system they call the civilian military fusion means that even if you're looking at a lab, like let's say the Wuhan Institute of Virology, that appears to be civilian, maybe a university lab, it is obligated, they are all obligated under Chinese law to share research and data with the PLA, with the CCP, Chinese Communist Party, and to follow their orders regarding development of biological weapons agents. They have a massive offensive biological weapons program today, and that's something that is not spoken about enough, I think, with regard to the recent SARS-CoV-2 pandemic that spread across the world.
Well, Claire, unfortunately, we're out of time. So much more we definitely could talk about, but great to get your insights as always. We appreciate it, Claire.
Thank you.